Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel and welcome to a technical breakout in Tesla stock. It's been a while since we've had one of these, and we'll discuss what it means for Tesla. We obviously have some big news to go over that is causing this 5% rally in Tesla stock today that you do not want to miss. This technical breakout could send Tesla stock much higher. You're kind of in uncharted territory, if you will. This has been a development in progress since May. So it's about 3 months in progress, and you finally just broke out. We will also go over your broader market breaking news, what Donald Trump had to say about the conflict in Ukraine, cleaning up DC, and many other topics as well. Hit the like button, subscribe to the channel if you have not done so already. Check out that link down below in the description of this video if you want to come join the trading community. What we're doing over there is going out, finding small cap AI stocks before Wall Street does. We're getting in at the ground level in companies with high insider ownership, with good balance sheets, nearly profitable or already profitable, that Wall Street just hasn't picked up on yet, growing at hundreds or thousands of percents, okay? We're finding some gems over there. Check that link out down below in the description of this video if you would like to. But with that said, on to today's episode. As always, let's get started with your Tesla stock news. Elon Musk wrote on X last night at about 8:30 p.m. He says the FSD release in about 6 weeks will be a dramatic gain with a 10x higher parameter count and many other improvements. It's going through training and testing now. Once we confirm real-world safety of FSD 14, which we think will be amazing, the car will nag you much less. But that is not the big news that sent Tesla stock higher today. The big news that sent Tesla higher was Elon Musk responding to this post from Michael Rausch that says, if Robotaxi is working so great from videos, then why do you still need a special invite to get the app and try the service? Elon Musk says, quote, it will be open access next month. Okay, nobody knew how long it was going to take to get open access. Now, here's the deal. With something like open access, you're going to need a lot more cars out on the road, okay? If Tesla is getting away with, let's say, 15 to 20 today, they're going to have to like 4 or 5x that number to you know, keep up with demand of an open access program. Or it's kind of pointless to do open access because you're not going to have nearly as many cars to actually like let people use the service, right? Imagine if there's 20 cars, but now you just increase the amount of people that want to ride by 5, 10, 20, 30x what it was on invite only. Your wait times for vehicles are going to be dramatic. Like there's no point in doing open access. This really just means Tesla is going to dramatically raise the amount of vehicles that are in operation in Austin. Okay, let's be clear. Tesla's a $1 trillion company. One city with robotaxis does not move the needle for Tesla's business. But what it signifies, Tesla going from, you know, about a month ago launching the robotaxi service to open access with a massive geofenced area that it took Waymo, you know, years to expand to, okay? It shows that the scalability of robotaxi is going to be far better than Wall Street thought it was going to. Okay, especially if Tesla can get 100, 200 vehicles operating in Austin within the next month as they go open access. What's that mean for the next city? City after that? What's that mean for next year or the year after that? You can start to see the vision of what this service could look like across America. And that's why Tesla stock is up almost 5% today, because people have largely forgot the vision quickly, okay? Wall Street has memory of squirrels, okay? And that might be generous. But when you're reminded on a day like today, do not count Tesla out, then you see a flood of new buyers heading into the company. Now, as we've also talked about on this channel plenty of times now, ever since Tesla's earnings, okay, just about 2 weeks ago, you've started to see Wall Street get very bullish on Tesla. Okay, very, very bullish on Tesla. Tesla fell, about 8.2% the day of earnings, went up 3.5% after, went up another 3%, came back down as we got a little bit of weakness in the markets. And the last 4 days now have been really strong, up 3.62%, up 0.74%, up 2.29%, and now again in a technical breakout, up about 5% at the time of recording this video. I don't think you need to be a technical, analysis master to see the breakout here in this chart. It's very easy to see. Okay, whenever you have a downtrending trend line being respected, at the same time an uptrending trend line is being respected, you form this triangle flag pattern. Now, the confirmation of this turns this very much bullish. Now, some people are going to say this was a bull flag pattern to begin with. I don't think this pattern, technically speaking, is bullish or bearish before today, right? You're respecting both sides, the bulls and the bears, in this technical pattern. But now that you've broken out, it is unanimously a very bullish sign. And odds are the rally is not even close to being over with. Technically, you may need to get above 368 just to get this rally really going, to break out past your flag peak, if you will, on May 29th, which that also does coincide with the high around 368 as well that you had back here on February 20th. If you can manage to get above that, then you really set up some exponential upside, likely back into the 400s. Now, August and September are seasonally weak months for stocks. August is not as bad as September. September is typically pretty rough. But as I've talked about on this channel before, I just don't see the negative catalyst here. Unless we get some really bad economic data or something, get a larger growth scare, I don't think trade is going to be bad. I think with the meeting in Alaska on Friday, in regards to those secondary tariffs or sanctions put on oil buyers of Russian oil, I think Putin and Trump are going to be able to come to a deal. It might be Zelensky that holds that up. And, Trump might say, okay, well, it's not Putin holding it up, so you guys fight. And I'm not going to put any tariffs on any other countries because Zelensky doesn't want to end this thing. So I don't really see that as a negative catalyst at this point either. I don't really see inflation as a major problem, although we will get an inflation report coming out here very soon this week. It's hard to imagine the catalyst to give us that extensive downside. Could we get some volatility and some chop? Of course. Okay. I've been expecting that. We kind of fell like 3.5%. Now we're almost back to new all-time highs again. So you're in an environment where anything is possible here, but I do think the likelihoods are skewed towards stocks moving higher, even though we're heading into a seasonally weak period, especially in September. Now, Elon Musk commented on the dojo updates, basically people like the media skewing rapid iteration and progress as a quote-unquote failure. Elon Musk says, I see a potential path for an epic outcome. Now, Sawyer Merritt says here, Tesla giving open access to its robotaxi service next month is notable for a few reasons. Number one, Tesla is likely seeing very good FSD performance improvements in FSD 14 due to launch in 6 weeks. Number two, we are likely to see a big expansion in the number of robotaxis to service the higher demand once it's open access. They wouldn't do this unless they were confident in its safety. Number three, Tesla going from launching the robotaxi service to a small select group in Austin to open access about 90 days later. That's very quick progress. Number four, 99% of people in the US have never experienced a driverless vehicle, let alone Tesla FSD. So open access, assuming that means the general public, will open a lot of people's eyes to this technology and expose new people to Tesla's incredible products. That's something I've talked about as well, even with the pilot launch, if you will, in the San Francisco Bay Area. Like, if you've never tried Tesla's FSD, if you don't really know about it, and you see the car that's literally driving you around from point A to point B, that may be, a catalyst to get more people to buy Teslas. Again, speculating here, but that seems logical to me. Now it says currently Tesla's robotaxi service operates only in Austin. In the Bay Area, Tesla runs a ride-hailing service using the same software and vehicles, but it's not a robotaxi service because California hasn't granted the required permit. Since the post, Elon replied to said robotaxi, which leads me to assume he's referring to Austin with open access. As always, we should take a grain of salt with timelines, but the general pace of progress lately has been undeniable, and that's a big reason for Tesla's stock excelling today, because people were not expecting a lot of good news, and now it seems like every other day Elon is giving us good news. And as well, today in the news, Tesla's second showroom in India opened today in Delhi. And here are some photos of it. Now, here in a somewhat viral video on TikTok, a Tesla Model 3 owner that he bought his vehicle in 2022 breaks down his expenses for the car since he's owned it. Just a summary here, he says, quote, "This car has completely exceeded any expectations I had for it. FSD is $100 a month. I use it daily. I get my money's worth." CEO of Mercedes criticized the European Union's plan to ban CO2 emitting vehicles from 2035. Rivian is starting to develop a steer-by-wire system for its vehicles, according to a new job posting. So following in the, behind the lead of Tesla on this one. Ford has officially unveiled its new electric vehicle platform and its next generation vehicle production system. The Universal EV platform details reduced parts by 20% versus a typical vehicle, with 25% fewer fasteners, 40% fewer workstations dock to dock in the plant, and 15% faster assembly time. Ford says lower cost of ownership over 5 years than a 3-year-old used Tesla Model Y. Now, there's a lot of other details here. We're not going to run through all of them, but additional specifications for the midsize electric include reveal date, starting price, EPA estimated battery range, battery sizes, and charge times will be communicated later. Ford's $2 billion investment in their Louisville assembly plant is in addition to its previously announced $3 billion investment in Blue Oval Battery Park, Michigan, which will build the prismatic LFP batteries for the midsize electric trucks starting next year. Together, the investments total approximately $5 billion, and between the two plants, Ford expects to create or secure nearly 4,000 direct jobs. And Tesla has now opened its second supercharging station in India, again, this time in New Delhi, with 4 stalls. A new $13 million Tesla Megapack battery energy storage system is now online in Westchester County, New York. The systems are now generating value of distributed energy resources credits by delivering dispatchable energy to the Con Edison grid, combined capacity of 13.5 megawatts, 55.7 megawatt hours. Now, also in the news today, Tesla just secured a Texas permit for robotaxis without a safety driver. Elon Musk then confirms that the Tesla Semi will be in volume production next year. Now, with that said, let's go ahead and get into all of your broader market news today and upcoming catalyst for this market. Donald Trump has said that tariffs are making our country strong and rich. EU's foreign minister Callas says, quote, "We will work on more sanctions against Russia, more military support for Ukraine, and more support for Ukraine's budgetary needs in a accession process to join the EU." Trump says he's placing Washington, D.C. and the police department under federal control and deploying the National Guard. Trump on Putin meeting says, "I am talking to the European leaders before the Putin meeting." Now, Trump says he is looking to reclassify the devil's lettuce as a less dangerous drug. Trump says he has negotiated down to a 15% tax, essentially, on chips. Trump says Nvidia's H200 is obsolete, but it still has a market in China. Trump says he wants 20% if he approves a chip export. Trump says, I think there will be another meeting about the Blackwell chip. NVIDIA's CEO sought payments from chip makers on some sales. Trump says he wouldn't make a deal without NVIDIA's new chip. Trump on Putin meeting, he says he can see increased trade with Russia following a Ukraine deal. Trump on Putin meeting in Alaska says Zelensky could go to the meeting, but then he goes on to say that they've had, fighting for 3 years and there hasn't been a deal yet. Probably best if he doesn't come. Trump on this Putin meeting calls it, quote, a feel-out session, says he will urge Putin to end the war and hopes for constructive talks, plans to speak with Zelensky next, possibly in joint meeting with Putin, notes there may be land swaps and will try to secure some territory back for Ukraine, open to leaving without a deal, and will call European leaders after meeting, wants to see a ceasefire. So this, again, is not important because Wall Street cares about war, right? Wall Street doesn't care about the war in Ukraine. It makes zero difference to the markets whether it's happening or doesn't, okay? What is important is the Trump secondary tariffs on countries like China and India. Now, here's the way that I look at this, just to kind of give you the 360 overview, okay? If Putin is the one delaying peace, then we have a problem. If Zelensky is the one delaying peace, we don't have a problem. Because how logical would it be if Putin wants to end the war, Trump wants to end the war, but Zelensky doesn't, to, harass or make it harder for countries to buy Russian oil, right? To slap a tariff on China or slap another tariff on India, right? That doesn't make a lot of sense if Zelensky is the one holding this thing up. Now, if Trump and Putin say, hey, we just agreed to a deal, what do you think, Zelensky? And Zelensky says, yeah, no, we're good. We're not doing that deal. You think Trump's going to go put tariffs on China and India and all these other countries for buying Russian oil when Zelensky is the one holding it up? So long story short, if Trump and Putin come to some kind of agreement, that's great. If they don't, that's bad. Okay? If Zelensky is the one holding things up, that's good for markets. Versus like Putin holding things up. Hopefully that makes some sense. And that's why we're talking about this, because whoever's holding it up, that's really the implications for those secondary tariffs. And that's where the markets would not like this situation. But Trump says it's not up to me to make a Russia-Ukraine deal. And again, Trump on Putin meeting says, I'd like to see a ceasefire. Trump says he will see the parameters, may leave, and say good luck. Trump says there'll be some changes in land. Trump says after Putin-Trump's meeting, then there's probably going to be a meeting with Zelensky and Putin, and he will attend that meeting if they want him to. Trump says that he is expecting constructive talks with Putin and says that he really respects Putin for coming to America for this meeting. And you can see that here. Trump says, I think it's respectful that Putin is coming to the US. Trump on China trade says, quote, they've been dealing nicely. And Trump was asked today about the deadline for negotiations with China today. And Trump on China trade says, quote, we'll see what happens with the deadline. It's going to be, kicked down the road. We're not going to have this deadline, and tariffs are going to snap back to 145% on China tonight. And I think, again, judging on what the markets are doing today, we're already, pricing that in. Donald Trump says that he's going to look at New York and Chicago if they should also be under federal control to clean up the cities. And Trump says that tariffs give us great power over enemies. I also want to share this with you because I think it's so bearish, it's bullish, okay? Bank of America says stagflation fears are dominant. In Bank of America's August fund manager survey, 70% of investors expect global stagflation, high inflation and weak growth over the next year, unchanged from July. Stagnation is seen by 12%, up from 10%, a boom by 7%, down from 10%, and Goldilocks scenario by 7%. So nobody's expecting a super good outcome here, right? When people are all really bearish, it's easy to get a better than expected outcome. And I think that's the setup that we're faced with. And by the end of this year, it's going to be clear we're either in the Goldilocks scenario or the boom scenario, where maybe inflation's a little high. Maybe we're working through some of the, one-time price increases from tariffs, but growth is good. AI investment is good. Consumers recovering a little bit. Or maybe we're in a Goldilocks scenario. I wouldn't be surprised if by the end of this year, the first couple months of 2026, we are in a Goldilocks scenario where we don't have an inflation problem. We're getting a bunch of rate cuts. Consumer is recovering. Economy is doing just fine. Earnings are coming in better than expected. AI investment is continuing. Capital expenditures are skyrocketing via the big, beautiful bill and the 100% capital depreciation on that. Some of the other provisions like no tax on tips, no tax on overtime, being able to write off interest on car loans, and many other things contributing to a consumer getting better. You can start to really see a positive dynamic starting to form. Maybe, real estate starts to be able to move again, right? As rates come down. I was talking to someone at the beach the other day that is in construction in Florida. Really, remodeling homes and buying and selling homes and all of that. He says that he thinks when rates come down, we're going to have a boom. He doesn't think there's going to be a lot of pressure on prices because there's going to be so much demand still. Okay. So, take it for what you will, but I think there's a much higher chance of a Goldilocks or a boom scenario than what Wall Street is assigning here, around a 7% likelihood. That to me just doesn't make a lot of sense. Oh, I almost forgot, for Tesla stock and option activity from hedge funds and institutions, you have 205 different trades totaling $101.2 million with a positive order value of 74%. So looks good today. Volume on the call side of 65.21% and volume on the put side of about 35%. Now, short sellers, you can see here, are covering about 78,000 shares, 2.55% short interest of free float, about $23 billion sold short in the stock, and totaling 69.02 million shares. You can see today the percent of stocks trading above their 50-day moving average is down to 49.13%. So markets internally definitely look a lot different than what the headline S&P would suggest, that we have a pretty strong market recovering close to new all-time highs, whereas in fact under the surface it is not nearly as strong. You're not super weak, like it could be a lot worse, okay, but you only have about half of stocks above their short-term 50-day moving average. That's not like super great or super bullish at the same time. The AI investor sentiment survey came in at 34.9% bull, 21.9% neutral, and 43.2% bear. We'll get a new one updated on Thursday. And today, we really did not have any economic data, but things start to pick up a bit for tomorrow. Today, you had a couple of bond auctions, no big deal. Tomorrow, we have core CPI, okay? Year over year, month over month, headline year over year, and month over month as well. Bunch of Fed speakers. Long story short, we're expecting a little bit of a rise to inflation, but not anything too dramatic. So if it comes in too high, that's bad. If it comes in low, well, that's good. And we'll discuss this more in depth in the next video. We also have some earnings today. In after hours, like Big Bear AI, Oklo, AMC, AST, Space Mobile, Archer Aviation, Plug, GoPro, and some others. And then tomorrow is going to be a pretty big day. Pre-market Circle, C, and Pony AI, PaySafe, and Cardinal Health. And then tomorrow in after hours, you have CoreWeave, Rigetti, Kava, H&R Block, and some others. And then you got some other earnings as well throughout the week. But honestly, Tuesday looks to be the big day, with especially Circle and CoreWeave. So let me know your thoughts on all of this down below in the comment section. Hit the like button as well as subscribe to the channel if you have not done so already. And stay tuned to the channel for the video coming out later. Today, we will go over inflation expectations from major firms and my thoughts around specifically inflation coming out tomorrow as well. Again, hit the like button and subscribe to the channel if you have not done so already. Check out that link down below in the description of this video for the trading community. With that said, Have a great rest of your day, and I will see you in the next one.